The Great School Uniform Debate. Story by Jason Lublinski. Illustrations by Cheryl Knoll. Chapter 1. The 8th Grade Trip. Simon Patel was probably the single most popular 8th grader at Harold H. Harkkanian Middle School. Usually, kids grouped together in tightly knit cliques. It's a stereotype, of course, but it often tends to be true, even at Harkkanian Middle School. There were the athletic kids who loved playing sports, and there were the brainy kids, the ones who gravitated toward math, who loved science fiction, and who found few things as exciting as a good, high-impact game of chess. There were cheerleaders and fashion mavens, preppy kids and theater club kids, and even kids who were into model rocketry and computers. And there were plenty of other easily recognizable groups. Like any other school, Harkkanian Middle School had students who fit into many different molds, as well as students who belonged to countless other groups and circles and mini-societies. But what made Simon so unusual was that he seemed to fit in well with every single one of them. He was a talented basketball player, and he had friends who were into football and hockey. He was a skilled computer programmer and a whiz at chess, so he had a number of friends at the after-school computing connection and in the chess club. Simon was an unusually gregarious and outgoing boy who made friends with everyone wherever he went. He seemed to know every 8th grader at Harkkanian by name and had an incredible knack for getting along with people even when he didn't share any interests with them. Simon was friends with Harkkanian's fashion girls, even though he knew next to nothing about trendy clothing and even less about shopping as a competitive sport. He was on good terms with the theater club kids, even though the only time he'd ever acted in his entire life was in a 5-minute kindergarten production titled The Ant and the Aardvark. Although Simon was friendly with everyone and well-liked by all, he had a relatively small inner circle of close friends. His 3 very best friends were Jenny Bentley, Bobby Kromowski, and Lenny Zhang. The 4 of them were pretty much inseparable. Jenny was the new president of Harkkanian's chess club and also the prettiest girl in the entire grade. Coincidentally, or maybe not, the chess club membership was at an all-time high this year. Bobby was very tall and as skinny as a rake. He was also desperately determined to grow a beard, despite the fact that he was a few years too young to successfully do so. Bobby had been part of Harkkanian's theater club since he was in 6th grade. This year, he had successfully launched the school's first-ever filmmaking society. So far, the society had completed only one film. It was a 30-second-long silent black-and-white short called Milky Puffy Summer, which was widely considered, at least by Harkkanian students, to be the second worst movie ever made. Bobby secretly agreed with this assessment, but he was determined to get the filmmaking society back on track and had sworn that by the end of the school year, the group would produce a new film of unsurpassed grandeur and artistic vision. Nobody believed this for a second, but most of the student body were eagerly anticipating the society's next effort, if only because they expected it to be even more hilariously awful than Milky Puffy Summer. Simon's 3rd best friend, Lenny, was the school's best all-round athlete. He had a strong pitching arm for baseball, and he was a fast, agile pass catcher when it came to football. But basketball was where he really excelled. As the 2 best players on Harkkanian's team, he and Simon often scored 85 to 90% of the team's points during any given game. They each played shooting forwards and were called the Twin Terrors, even though they didn't look remotely alike, because their playing styles were so similar. They could leap and soar across the court. Everyone agreed that they would both be starting for the varsity high school team in a couple of years. Jenny, Bobby, and Lenny didn't have much in common other than a shared friendship with Simon, but that was enough. Simon was human superglue, and he kept people bonded tightly together, no matter how different they might be from one another. It was only a few months into the new school year, but the 4 8th graders had already developed a well-established daily ritual. After they had finished with all their various after-school activities, They would get together.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?